I think as you kind of unpack a bit of world religions and things like that, there's this idea that comes to mind that one of the things that is unique about Christianity, I think, is this idea of promises, covenant promises. God promises things to his people. He promises things to us. And yet, when I consider other religions, I think, surely there's promises in those as well, and even maybe ultimate promises of either fulfillment, purpose, etc. And so if we're to make the claim that Christianity is the one true religion with regard to promises, is Christianity promising the same thing as all the other ones, or is there a difference here?
Yeah, I love that question. And again, it's very helpful to think through what really is on offer. What really is being promised or offered. So let's take, for example, let's take the idea of, you said God is in the universe, I am one with God. Like, it's all sort of one sort of fabric. Part of the challenge with that kind of spirituality, or that view of spirituality, is where does salvation come from should you need it? So like, it's all good if we can sort of stay connected to the world, but then the onus seems to be on us. You have to create a harmony with it. But if something happens, let's say you failed somebody, or let's say you've fallen short, how does redemption, if God is the universe, how does God redeem the universe? What happens when the universe is in need of saving? Does that make sense? So there has to be that distinction. Or say a Buddhist worldview where we go, no, there's both sides belong and everything belongs. We lose the ability to name something as evil. And we go, no, actually, that's evil. We don't want to call that good. We don't want to call that part of God. We need to name that as something other than. So in the Christian worldview, the promise is that God is good, and everything good comes from him, and everything evil is a distortion of the good. It's not a separate substance, nor is it the same substance. It's a corruption of the substance. Now, what's embedded in that is the promise that God cares about you, that God actually wants to save you. I can't help but recognize that so many of the philosophies and religions begin with a human being's quest for truth. So a wise man goes up to the mountain and waits for revelation, or a person journeys into the wilderness and has an experience. But the Christian story begins with a God who's searching for you. In the Garden of Eden, we're given all of these things, and then we fail, we fall short, and while human beings are hiding, they're doing the furthest thing from looking for God. They're hiding from God, and God goes looking for us. So the promise of so many other worldviews is, it's up to you. If you can live this way, if you can behave, if you can meditate, if you can achieve peace. But the promise of Christianity is, when you can't, and you won't, and when you fail, God is still looking for you. God is still coming after you. And because there's only one God, he's the only God you need. My dad grew up Hindu, and in the Hindu kind of pantheon, there's just room for all kinds of other gods. And so I had relatives who were like, oh yeah, I believe in Jesus, that's fine. Like Krishna, Ganesh, Shiva, Jesus, just add them all, it's okay. And part of the appeal for my dad, and I'll say a bit more at the end, but part of the appeal for my dad was, there was one God who was sufficient for you. Not just that this God is the one who's looking for you, but he's enough for you. That's the promise, I think, that is pretty unique about Christianity.